So good evening, everyone. I'm going to talk to you about C4 AI, which is a very interesting project that I'm working on. Now, before I get into what the technicalities are, let me give you a quick overview that what are the functions or features that we have built it for. So as you can see here, 8 agentic investigation engines. Let me explain to you what that means. This is not only for cryptocurrency investigation, although that is where we started with. But then as we started to deploy our platform for various law enforcement agencies, we heard from a lot of them that they want everything to be handled in one place. It's not just about crypto crime investigation, it's also cyber crimes. It could also be crime scene investigations where physical evidence also comes into the picture. So that's the reason we have broken this down into 8 sections. The first one is cryptocurrency crime investigation. The second one is cyber crime investigation. The third one is crime scene, where you could even upload photographs from a crime scene, or the detective at the scene has given some kind of audio notes. You upload all that, and then it can recreate the entire structured events and give indications about what should be the manner in which that particular case is investigated. Then there's case intelligence. I'm going to show you how all of these look also, where you can upload documents. I mean, let's say you finished all the investigation, you could upload 100 documents. And then you could ask C4 AI to build all the court-ready documentation that you actually need. I'm going to show you one by one how all of these works. It also manages digital forensics and device analysis, financial crime and money laundering, darknet and open source intelligence, and investigation reports and legal documentation. Now, from a tech point of view, to give you a broad overview, it's a suite of 8 agentic investigation engines, the 8 that I've just named for you. And at the back end, there is multimodal orchestration. So basically, AI is used for not just the intelligence purposes, but let's say you upload crime scene photos, or let's say you upload photographs of potential evidence. The AI can actually extract the data from those photographs and then pass it on for intelligence. There's also a RAG-based system in that. So we've uploaded all our manuals and documents into this platform so that when you ask questions, it cannot give you wrong answers or doesn't hallucinate, but gives you answers based on those manuals which have been given to it. And of course, there's domain-specific forensic tooling in that. Now, let me start with one example of a very interesting case that we solved some time ago. So in this case, what happened is we found in the email of one of the suspects a very long Japanese text. I mean, it looked like Japanese in the beginning to us. So if you can see this on my screen, it's a long text that had been sent out. Now, obviously, none of us really knew whether this is Japanese, Chinese, or Korean, and we didn't understand that language. But this was one of the first challenges that we gave C4AI. So what we did was we gave this entire text to the AI and we said, analyze this and see if you can extract any evidence or artifact which could help in an investigation. Now, what the AI was able to do, it was able to go through all this, and then it was able to realize that somewhere inside this text, there are 24 symbols. Again, Japanese, if you look at it, you can't really make out where it's any different. But it was able to identify that these symbols are part of a BIP39 phrase. So as you know, a seed phrase in crypto can be in various languages. So English, Italian, Spanish, Chinese, Japanese, Korean, all these languages are supported. But obviously, you don't expect an investigator to know any of these languages. So what C4 AI is able to do is go through this long text, figure out if it finds BIP 39 words in whichever language it may be, coming in a sequence, one after the other. And it's not necessarily 24, it could be 12, 15, 18, 21, 24. And if it does, it can immediately give you the analysis that this is a 24-word BIP phrase. And now, as you can see here, open seed investigator, copy paste this, and you can continue with the investigation. Let's keep this interactive. So whenever you have any questions, just keep putting it in the chat. I hope this part was clear to all of you. So this is actually one of the first features that we built in C4AI, the ability to take text or even photographs or, screenshots and then decipher what kind of information. So for example, it need not only be seed phrase. It could also be a private key. It could be an address. Almost any kind of evidence, the AI is able to pull, because this is not a general AI, this is a very trained platform. Let me go on to the next feature. So now let's say that in a particular case, you have a seed phrase which has been caught. Now, as you know, seed phrases are the most important pieces of evidence. Once you get a seed phrase, you can actually derive unlimited millions and millions of wallets across all the major blockchains. So let's say that in a particular case, we have got this 12-word seed phrase, you paste it there, and then you have two options that you can play with. So you select all the chains that you want to work on, and then you tell the AI whether you want to only derive the addresses, which actually isn't of practical use, but derive and scan. So now what it does is, depending on the chains you've selected and depending upon the number of addresses you've set. So for example, in this case, we've set 3. What the platform is going to do is, it is going to start generating addresses, 3 per chain that you have selected. Then it will go and check on the blockchain whether any of those addresses have had any transactions in the past. And if yes, it creates a very detailed document which you can just click and download. So for example, in this case, it created 42 addresses, found 5 which had some activity across 4 chains, and then it gives you that information here, that these are the addresses which have transaction, and it is also trying to show you the balance. So for example, on Ethereum, this particular address has 125,000 in, let's say, a stable coin called Euro, EUR, or this one is for USD. And then at the bottom, you see this generate print ready HTML. So what it can do is, now you want to present this in code, right? Just taking a screenshot of this is not going to be of use. So what the AI then does is, it goes through all the evidence that has been recovered, and then it creates this investigation report, which you can then easily give in the code. So it's a very detailed report where it first says what the executive summary is, and then it goes deeper and deeper and gives a very clear report which tells you exactly what evidence you found and what that led to, with, as you can see here, a very, very long table which marks out all the addresses and what kind of evidence or crypto was found in those. So by adding these reports, we are making it very easy for investigators. Earlier, when you used to use C4 tools, you may have realized that it would give you the results, but then you had to manually sit and make a report. Now, obviously, that took a lot of time for people. So now what we've started doing is, we've started creating these reports also. So you just click a button and a very nice report can be generated. If there are any questions, just keep putting them in the chat. Then let's move on to the next one. So here, let's see about how the case intelligence is going to work. Now, that's a very, very interesting feature. So first step, you create a case. So for example, in this case, I've just called it criminal case. Then you can upload all the documents. So whatever kind of documents you feel relate to the case. So in this case, I think I've uploaded about 17 documents. Now what happens is, the moment you upload these documents, they go into the RAG, which is a retrieval augmented kind of a system, which I talked about earlier. This now makes it very easy for the AI to give its intelligence on it. So for example, here, after uploading all the documents, I said summarize, and then I've just taken a small screenshot, but it's a long summary. So it goes through all those 17 documents and gives you a summary. Now let's take an example that you have, tons and tons of documents which are there. In a particular case, it may be statements of the accused, it may be statements from the complainant, and all of that can be uploaded here. And then you can summarize, or as you can see here, it can also extract crypto. So let's give an example of a 100-page document that you have uploaded. Now from that, it'll pick out all the crypto extracts. So it'll pick out if there are seed phrases, if there are addresses, there are wallets, it can pick them up. You click on timeline, it goes through all those documents and creates a timeline of events. So you may have 500 pages of documents. It could create that entire timeline within minutes for you. Then it can also pick out different entities. Who are the entities in those documents? What have they done? It can create a summary of that. And then here you can chat with those documents. So whatever you want to do, you want to create something out of it, you just keep chatting and it is going to do that only on those documents with zero kind of hallucinations. There's a question about what does the report show. So depending upon the case, different reports show up. So I've already showed you what it does in the seed kind of investigation. Then the next is the checklist feature. Now, this is where, you name a kind of crime or you name a kind of scenario situation, and we have developed comprehensive checklists for them. So suppose you are investigating a private key. You would click on this and then something like this kind of a detailed checklist would open up. And let me just open that out. Yeah. So here, one by one, as you start to tick each of these, From here, 0 of 32 complete would then show 1, 2, 3, it's getting completed. And these checklists are designed so that even if you're very new to investigation, it can guide you step by step what you're supposed to do in this particular case. So let's say you are investigating a case of a darknet market, or you're doing a fake trading app. Now, for many investigators, that's complicated. Like, what do I do? What kind of evidence do I need to have? What kind of evidence packs I create? Step by step, it'll guide you to complete that entire process. Then we have another feature, which is the transaction receipt, where you just have to enter the transaction. So for example, here I've entered the hash and selected that this is for Polygon. Now what it does is, see, when you look at any transaction and if you go to the blockchain explorer, it has a lot of information, a lot of it which may not be relevant, and it's not very easy to produce in code. The screenshots look quite messy. So what it does is it creates a very neat looking document, and you can export this in HTML or PDF, and it can then be very easily produced in code. You can take a printout of it also. So it gives you all the information that you actually need for producing in code. And here, like I said, you can print it, you can download it as PDF, or you can even view it on the Explorer. Another feature is the blockchain address directory. So this is a very, very interesting feature, and it's being built a little slowly because we are verifying every address before putting it in. I'll give you a reason for that. So many people who have made such databases, they have included the US sanction list, right? Now, if you look at it, just because the US has sanctioned a particular entity doesn't mean the rest of the world has. So we don't take those kind of addresses into account. We are looking at those addresses which either are known to belong to criminal organizations, have participated in a crime, have received the proceeds of a crime, or then, of course, if they have been labeled or they belong to exchanges and all. And I'll explain to you why this is important. Now, during an investigation, you may come across hundreds of addresses. Now, what if some of them belong to an exchange? How would you even know that? So this would immediately tell you this belongs to Binance, or this belongs to a particular exchange, or this is used by Binance for AVAX only. This would make it very easy for you to continue an investigation. And in many of our other tools, which I'm going to show you right now, this feature makes it much easier. And here again, you could click a button and generate a report. So what this report then does is, which can be very easily presented in code, is it explains to you the entire what it did, what databases it checked, what kind of report it got, and all this information is available to you for producing in code. There's an interesting question. Would this tool work in case of economic offenses without involved? Absolutely, it would. So that's exactly our purpose behind it. That's why I told you we are doing end-to-end investigation. I mean, in the long run, if a detective is at the crime scene of a murder and he uploads documents of the crime scene, based on the blood splatter pattern, the system would give it a lot of inputs to the detective about what next to do or what could have happened. So any kind of crime, irrespective of whether it involves cryptocurrency or not, you would be able to handle it here. I'll give you another very interesting feature. So the money laundering feature that we are working on, you can upload bank statements, hundreds of bank statements. You can upload blockchain information if crypto was involved, otherwise bank statements and other document. It can go through all of them, and then it can give you details about how they would have actually done this kind of laundering, and what are the kind of evidences and how do you proceed with that. Voice was breaking. Okay, I hope it's better now. Unfortunately, I do face this problem once in a while. Is it better now? Clearly, are you able to hear me? Awesome. Let me go on to the next one. Okay. Then we also have a wallet profiler where you could enter the address here of any wallet, select the chain and click on profile wallet. So now it's going to give you a very deep report on everything that particular wallet has ever done. So all the transactions and everything is made available to you. And here you see generate print ready HTML. Click it and you can then download. There's another other question. When presenting in court, is it a requirement to disclose analysis were done with AI? Okay. So it doesn't really, there's no rule about that, but I would always recommend that you should write the name of the tool that was used. So what happens is, because many times the court can also say that, or the defense can raise the thing that the tool that you've used is incorrect or not properly done. So ideally what you do with every report is you write down which particular tool you have used. Whether that is AI or not doesn't matter, because all of this evidence anyway can be cross-checked. I'll give you an example. Let's say you have uploaded 100 documents and the AI has given you a report. After that, you've looked at the report and verified that, okay, what it's saying is actually true. So that doesn't matter whether it was done by AI or not done by AI. Let's say you've given some transaction details, then the defense can always go to the blockchain explorer and check whether that is correct or not. And again, that's something that you would also do. Another question is how DPDP Act provisions work in these cases. So do we have to comply with IEA 65B? Yes. So depending upon the country, I am keeping today's session jurisdiction agnostic, but yes, of course, depending upon the country that you're in, all the relevant certificates would need to be issued. So yes, you're absolutely right. If you're doing it under Indian law, then you would have to do those regular compliances. So in fact, that's a very good point, because that's a feature we are adding in this. So one by one, we are going to start covering many jurisdictions' laws. So for example, you could tell the AI, this is the kind of crime that happened. Now, what sections do I apply? Because again, that's complicated. A particular case may involve so many different laws which may come into the picture. If it's darknet, it may involve not just the, say, main criminal laws. It may also bring in something in India, for example, like the narcotics related laws. So the AI will be able to guide you what all sections you should be able to apply. We are also working on it that, you click another button and it can generate a complaint for you. So let's take an example. Somebody walks in to make a complaint. Now, they may just ramble on and give a lot of information. They're speaking to the AI. The AI gets all that information and then creates it in a proper complaint or FIR kind of a format, which you can then proceed with. Because otherwise, these things, waste a lot of time of the investigator. So all of that also you'll be able to do. Then when you click on that HTML report, then again for this wallet also, a completely detailed report opens up. So these reports we have prepared in such a way that it should be very easy for you to go and produce it in the code. Let me continue. Okay, sorry, we've already done this. Yeah. Now this is a very interesting feature, which is the transaction graph. So what happens in this is you just enter the address and then you select the network and you say how many hops you wanted to do. So you would do 1 hop, 2 hop, or 3. And then you generate a graph. So what it does is now it starts to map all the addresses with which that particular address has actually interacted. Now, earlier I was telling you about the BAD, blockchain address database. So what is going to happen here very soon is, instead of only seeing these numbers or the addresses, you will start to see names. So here it may pop up and say Binance. So when you look at this entire graph, you can understand, okay, what are the centralized or decentralized exchanges this address has transacted with, or what are the different labeled entities or criminal entities that the person has transacted with. And of course, when you click on any of these, you go deeper into that. So this is the kind of report it always used to generate. Now you click a button, it also creates a transaction graph report. So as you can see, it's a very, very comprehensive report which covers everything in that graph. And then you can again very easily take a printout of that. Then another feature is the internal transactions that happen in contracts. This becomes very critical because everything in an investigation need not be on chain. A lot of things can happen internally in a contract also. So again, here you can just enter the address and the network of a particular contract, and then it can give you a very, very detailed report on all the internal transactions. And again, you click a button and it generates a court ready printout for you. I mean, you can just print that, and as you can see, it's really, really, really long. But then the point is, you have to give this kind of detail because some of these internal transactions may actually be a piece of evidence. So this is something which is usually very difficult for investigators to get. So that's another feature that we have put into that. Then there is the MetaMask state logs analyzer. So in an investigation, as you know, MetaMask is a very popular wallet. Of course, we are adding support for other wallets also. If you get the JSON wallet download, you can just upload it here. And then it gives you the complete details of whatever is inside that JSON file. So for example, here it shows you the case summary, and then it could show you all the different accounts that have been set up on this particular wallet. Then it can analyze all of that and show you all the transactions that have taken place here. And you can go deeper and you can also see all the different interactions that it has had and how many transactions with different entities. So all of this put together would completely handle the MetaMask part of it. Now, other than this, there are a lot of other features that we have built, and over the next few days, I will be making more posts around each of these features and how you can use them. Now, let's get back to the first slide where I'll briefly explain to you technically what is really happening here. So, if you look at it from a broad perspective, firstly, there is inputs. So you can input different information into the AI. So whether those are log files, emails, phishing messages that may have come, malware reports, device artifacts. So let's say, from mobile devices, from laptops, you've got information. Like simple example could be you've cloned the RAM of the suspect's machine. So you have the RAM clone file. Whatever kind of files that you may have created, you should be able to upload all of them. IP addresses, domain names, case files, seed phrases, whatever kind of document you've got, whatever kind of files you have, you will be able to upload them into the platform. Then it ingests them and indexes them. So normalization of data happens. Then if suppose, let's say they're badly made PDFs, someone's taken an image and then made a PDF out of it. So then it'll do the OCR for that. Then entity extraction, secure indexing, all of that is done. Then you have the orchestration which happens. So we have multi-model orchestration. We have RAG where I told you we have already uploaded our manuals. Plus you can upload your case documents which can all go into this. And then there are domain specific tools. So I just showed you about 5-6 tools, but there are about 115 different tools that we have built and many more are coming in. All of those will then run. And then you have the analysis and reasoning part where it does things like pattern and anomaly detection, correlation and linking between different entities. It generates hypotheses. So in any kind of case, sometimes we don't even know what our hypothesis should be. So it generates multiple hypotheses so that you can look at various things that could have actually happened in this crime. And for each hypothesis, it does confidence scoring. And then finally, you get your output, which could be evidence, timelines, entity maps, investigative leads, and court-ready reports. Now, another question that I get asked a lot is that how do we actually get access to this? So there are multiple ways. So if you're a student of C4, you will get access to this in a SaaS kind of a model where you can, everything runs on the platform. You don't have to really do much on that. Voice is breaking again. Okay. I hope my voice is clearer now. And then you can also, if you're a law enforcement, you can get this entire thing to run on your system. So let's say that you say, okay, we have 20 employees or officers who need this. We can set this up on your, say, 20 laptops or 20 servers. I mean, this can run completely on a regular laptop also. It does not need a very high-end server to run it. Yes, you will get the recording of this, don't worry about that. So you can get it set up in that kind of a system also where it's set up locally and all the laptops that you want can connect to it. One server in your organization could be there on which you set up and the others connect. All of these different options are available for that. As of right now, it's readily available to students of C4 courses, and it's also available to law enforcement agencies and financial institutions and others. Now, if you have any kind of questions, please feel free to ask them. I'll be able to answer those. Otherwise, I will share a recording of this also, and I will be doing more such sessions where I'll talk to you about each and every tool and feature and about how we are going. Now, somebody had an interesting question about the AI must be learning and becoming better from the data or files given to it. Yes, so definitely we're trying to do that. Of course, while keeping in account that, data which is confidential to one agency should not be visible to any other agency. So what happens here is, as of right now, we are not using it to improve it. As of right now, we are feeding it as and when required to the AI models. We are not doing any training on that. Does a DPO essentially use this tool proactively along with? Well, that's an interesting question that you have. So DPOs are actually from a very different industry, but yeah, sure. If this makes sense, they could also use that. Available for C4 students means, is it available to us, please? Yes, of course, it is available to the C4 students. So if you're doing any of our programs like CCI, CCA trainer, it's available to you. So over the next few days, you will get access to it. We will have special sessions telling you how you can access. Just on the very detailed MetaMask wallet breakdown, as you showed, it's so easy to get all this information just like that. Okay, I'm not sure I understood your question, so you're going to have to clarify that, Chen. Have you experienced any challenges in a court regarding the credibility of the tool? And if so, what was the outcome? Will it be possible? Okay, so this is very new. I mean, we started building these tools just a few months ago, and the AI version of it is just in the way of being released. So, no, as of right now, it's not gone to court yet. But like I said, when you look at it from a court point of view, what the court or what the defense side is going to try to do is whatever reports you've generated, they're going to try to prove that those are not accurate. So, how do you do that? By referring to those documents that were fed into this, or by referring to the blockchain explorers to match that information. So, the tool doesn't create information. The tool analyzes this and gives you stuff to move on. Now, let's take an example of a very conventional physical crime. So, let's say there is a murder case, and let's say there is a blood splatter on the wall. And the AI has said that based on the splatter pattern, this is what could have happened. Well, now the detective obviously is going to use his own intelligence and then write that down in the report. It doesn't matter whether the AI gave him that idea or he came up with the idea on their own. Finally, the detective is responsible. So if we look at the Supreme Court draft guidelines and regulations that have come on use of AI in court, they have made it very clear. AI is not responsible for anything. If as a judge you rely upon AI to make the judgment, you as a judge are taking that responsibility. And as a lawyer, if you're using it, you as a lawyer take the responsibility. So you need to verify things and then you need to apply your intelligence and give your reports. That's the same in this case, this tool also. How is it different than Reactor, same crypto investigation platform? Okay, I'm not well versed with Reactor, but if you look at these tools that we have, there are more than 100 plus tools. So Reactor may be handling certain kinds of features. I'm not really sure what it does. We handle end-to-end, not just of crypto investigation, but virtually any kind of crime that you can imagine in the world. We are heading towards covering all that in one platform. So that I think is very unique. I have not come across a single such platform which end-to-end will handle all crime. And secondly, the pricing is very, very India friendly. So C4AI is proudly made in India for the world. So the pricing is Indian, very, very reasonable. I mean, you can compare it with other platforms. We've done that comparison. They're probably 100x our price. In some cases 10x, in some cases up to 100x. You showed very detailed data on trades, chains. Seems there is no firewall in the... Okay, I understand your question. So when it comes to MetaMask, at a suspect's computer, if MetaMask is there, you can actually download the file. So it's a feature built into MetaMask, which as a user also you download. That actually downloads almost everything that you need. And then our tool makes it very easy for you to investigate because usually MetaMask backups will have huge amounts of data. Our tool makes it very easy for you to investigate them. Does it analyze CDR, IPDR, etc.? So that's a very good point. So a tar dump is something that we are working on. So in fact, this is something I wanted to post on the group also. Now we actually need help from the community. I'll give you an example where. So one of the features that we are looking at is that, in crime scene, there are so many different kinds of photographs. Now we have access to a lot of photographs. Now we want to start training a small language model to become a specialist for crime scene photos. Now, for that, we want help from very experienced officers who have actually analyzed a lot of crime scenes. So what we would do is we would feed that photograph to the model. The model will give a report and then the expert human being will correct that, say, okay, this is right and this is wrong. And then that small language model will actually get that expertise. Now, when it comes to tar dumps and other things, again, I request our community members to start sharing such documents with us. So you can anonymize it if you want. But let's say, because CDR is a very good point, and unfortunately, that is something which has slipped my mind to add. So let me just make a note of that. If you could send me some of these documents, so I see the right format, because in different countries, different formats are also sometimes used. So if you send us those, we will build that feature into the C4AI. So then it will understand, okay, whenever a CDR is uploaded, this is the kind of format in which I want to give the report. So I would request you guys to share that information with us, and definitely we'll add all these features. Like I said, our vision is that any kind of crime investigation, C4AI should be able to handle for you. I mean, it should be able to absolutely be your best guide in solving that. Doesn't matter whether that involves crypto or not, whether it's physical or any kind of a crime. Someone has an interesting question about US banks adopting digital assets and wallet screening. Do you see them integrating third-party analysts into their AML process? Okay, so that's a very good point, and I'm not really sure whether they are integrating or not. So, I mean, maybe if you are having contacts with some of these banks, you could ask them. But our tool, as of right now, does not give third-party APIs. To use C4 AI, you have to log into the C4 platform. But maybe in the long run, if we feel that it makes sense for our users, we will come out with our own API for that also. Someone says, happy to help for crime scenes. Awesome. I would look forward to you. You have my WhatsApp number. So if you could DM me and we could do that. CDR, call data record. So we're basically talking about tar dumps from cell phones for a lot of the data, which is very, very useful in many crimes. If North Korean hackers are involved, what can we do? Can we recover our crypto? Well, that's a very interesting question that you have. Now, I'll be very honest with you. In many, many cases, crypto can be recovered. It depends on where the crypto has finally landed up. So sometimes you may think, or the evidence may show that the crypto is with somebody outside the country, but actually the person may be still inside the country. There are lots of ways in people try, in which criminals try to fool us in that. Then again, it depends on where the crypto is. If it is with a centralized exchange, chances of recovery become very high. Decentralized exchange, chances of recovery become very low. What is the cost to us? Any discounts for our community? So yes, if you're a student, you are anyway going to get a 1 year free access depending on the course you're in. And otherwise for the community, we have put up our pricing on the platform. I'll share that on the WhatsApp group also. It's very, very India pricing. So don't worry about the pricing. It's extremely reasonable pricing. Although what I would strongly recommend to law enforcement agencies is don't go for the SaaS model, because a lot of the data that you have is very sensitive. And honestly, even I don't want access to that data by mistake also. So what I recommend for law enforcement agencies is you take the local version, which means you tell us how many machines you want this setup on, and we will set that entire thing on your laptops or on your servers. So all the data remains totally with you. Uh, okay, somebody has put a very, very long message. So it's very long for me to read that here. But if you could just send that in a DM to me on WhatsApp, or you could email it to me, I'll definitely go through that and give you your answer on that. Are there any other questions that you have? Admissions to our next batches for August are now open. So the website will be updated for that also by tomorrow. And then you can start getting access. Any other questions? Okay. How to master this platform? We have no cases. Help us through. Okay. So for mastering this platform, what we have done, in fact, that's a very good point you've raised, is that we have created a lot of actual live cryptos on different blockchains like Polygon, Ethereum, Arbitrum, and others. These are created for the purpose of testing. So we've created case studies around them. So these are not testnet tokens. They are actually running on the live blockchains. They are given free to all our students, these different stable coins on different networks. And then we've created case studies around them. So even though you don't have a real case, we have created cases based on simulations. So in the past, based on all the cases that we have investigated, we have created case studies, and that's how you actually learn in this course. My email address is rohasnagpal@gmail.com. Yeah. The pricing for our platform is available to you. Give me a second. Let me just put that here. Just yeah. So I am putting the link, and in fact, why don't I just share it? Okay. So as you can see the pricing here, for investigators is $49 a month. For AML, which is anti-money laundering, is 99. Analyst is 149. And then there is a custom version where we install the entire thing on your system. And then depending on the package, you get access to different modules. And for our students, of course, there's something special where you get this access for 1 year. So if you actually calculate, the price of the tool is actually much more than the fees. But then that's what we've done because we want to make it very easy for our students. So my honest advice to you is, instead of going in for this pricing here, it's better to join a course. You will get the tool at less than, I think, almost half price. So my advice to you is do that, unless of course you're an agency which wants the classified or the custom version which runs on your hardware, then go in from here. Otherwise, it's much cheaper if you join a course. I'll of course put that information also on the group so that you understand that. I see a lot more questions. Where are these case studies? So if you are a student, you would log into the C4 Learn platform where all the videos and live sessions and everything is there. In that, the case studies are there. So all of this is available only to our students, not really to anybody else. If you are a student, then all of this is already inside your manuals as well as the Learn platform. Of course, if you're a student, then just post this question on the student group that we have. Can this local version analyze data of multiple mobile data dumps, hundreds of GB data, and identify money laundering activity and graphically represent connection between the mobile users? Oh, that's a very, very interesting case. I offhand cannot answer that question. Is it possible for you to share this data with me? Like I said, you can anonymize it. But if you give us this data, I could definitely run that through our system and tell you. Although I'll be very honest, hundreds of GB of data seems a little very, very difficult, but it's not necessary that everything would need AI for that. So I would have to try this and get back to you. So it's a very good point. So you have my WhatsApp number and email ID. Why don't you get in touch with me? I'll share some of this data with you. Please share the August 20 batch registration link. So what I will do is, I hope you're all part of the WhatsApp group. I'll put it there. I have the website may not be updated yet, but I'll just give you the link. Give me a minute. So you could just go to c4academy.com. Let me just share the page. Give me a second. Okay. So if you just visit our website, you will see here something called courses. Right. So I'm putting the link of our website here in the chat. Give me a second. Okay. Now here, if you go on courses, it will show you all the different programs. So let's say we go into cryptocurrency crime investigator, then it tells you exactly what the syllabus is. And if you click on this, it goes deeper into each and every topic that is covered. Now here, if you look at it, you will realize, for example, that in this C4, in this course, you are getting a 1-year access to the tools. And this is valued at $468. But if you look at the fees, right, the fees is about $299. So like I told you, you're going to get the tool at almost half price. So what I would recommend to you is, instead of taking the tool directly in SaaS, I would strongly recommend join the course. Firstly, you'll get to learn a lot. You will understand exactly how to use each and every tool, and you are going to get 1-year access. And that 1-year access you get is a commercial access. So if you have cases, you can actually use the tools for the cases. You don't have to pay anything extra for that. So the cheapest way to get hold of the tools is by joining the course. But of course, if you still want to go for SaaS, it's totally your call. Binance, someone has put this thing. Someone needs a clarity on the courses. Sure, you could WhatsApp me whatever doubts you have, and I'll definitely be able to answer those for you. Are there any other questions that you have? I know I haven't taken a live session in quite a few days, been really caught up with this development work. Now that the development and everything is done, I will be taking more sessions regularly. And of course, the group is always there. And if you would like any kind of help, our team is always available for that. Sure. So why don't you send me a message about the clarity you need, and I'll be able to guide you. So I'll send you a link to a page which actually compares the different courses. That'll make it easy for you to handle that. Someone's talking about a fraud case using TikTok and Binance India. When you approach Binance India, they won't be able to help since the cryptos are sent by fraud. In this case, crypto investigation come in handy. Yes, so that's a very good point. And in fact, one of my colleagues, Keshav, I don't know if he's on the call right now, but he actually cracked a case very much like this. And they were able to recover a lot of the crypto, even though initially the centralized exchange had said no. But I cannot say that the answer is yes or no for every case. Depending upon what's happened in that case and depending upon the evidence, but in a lot of cases, even though the exchange may initially say no, when we go back to them with a detailed investigation report, they are actually able to help us. Because sometimes even they are not able to figure out what has actually happened and which addresses were involved. What about narco cases, how the software is useful? So that's a very good question that you have. So when we look at narco related cases, one is of course the crypto wallets come into the picture. But other than crypto wallets coming into the picture, we also have darknet which comes in, where Tor comes into the picture. Then you also have a lot of encryption which comes in. So now obviously today I have not shown all the tools, but there are many encryption relating tools also that are there in the platform. So now, depending upon the darknet investigation, and I would say if you want to take an example of that, the best ever darknet investigation done in the world was the Silk Road case. And in the Silk Road case, you will be surprised to know that the most important investigation was done without any blockchain in the picture. I mean, it was done using sites like LinkedIn. I mean, again, very shocking. This was like more than 10, 15 years ago, but LinkedIn was one of the places through which they identified the person running Silk Road. So in darknet, just because it's darknet doesn't mean everything has to be done on Tor or on the blockchain networks. There's a lot of other investigation or cyber investigation that comes in. So considering almost all the tools that are there in C4 AI, we've done a lot of darknet investigations, but offhand, I cannot tell you exactly how it goes because it depends on case to case. Future of crypto in India is still uncertain. How true is this? So, well, the government of India has made it very clear that they're not banning crypto. What they've done is they put taxes on it. And the ED is very strict if you try to misuse crypto for money laundering. But then the ED is there no matter how you do money laundering. Whether it is crypto or non-crypto related, the ED will be involved in the money laundering investigation. Other than that, there is no expectation that crypto would be banned. So the future of crypto in India, well, difficult for me to say, but what I see as of today, maximum crypto that I see is used by, I mean, I know this may sound really bad, but maximum crypto I see being used by either tax evasion or money laundering. So I see a lot of businesses today, which could be even international businesses, but they are using crypto, especially stable coins, to under invoice, over invoice, those kind of payments, evading GST, evading income tax. I mean, just try to understand. If there's a group of businessmen who are dealing with each other and they're all using USDT, it's next to impossible for the government to come to know. And these guys are not paying GST, they're not paying income tax on any of that. A large number of people are using it for money laundering also. Having said that, I'm not saying crypto is only used for illegal purposes. I'm also seeing a lot of legit use cases like tokenization. So different people have tokenized different assets. But the number one thing that I want you to understand when it comes to crypto is that stable coins are having hundreds of billions of dollars of daily transactions, and they are being used for remittance globally, including in India. So there are some very, very strong use cases. Then when we look at the e-rupee launched by the Reserve Bank of India, that also runs on a blockchain. It is not a crypto per se because it is issued by the central bank of a country and not by individuals. That's primarily the difference between, say, a crypto and a central bank digital currency. But that also shows how positive RBI is on blockchain. And I expect in the long run, by about 2030, you will find in India also lots and lots of tokenized assets on RBI's chain. Whether that's mutual fund holding, that's stocks, that's land, that's gold. Slowly, slowly, you will see all of these getting tokenized. It's already happening at a global level, but you will start to see that happening very much in India also. USDT to INR still sold at 90 INR. Yes, so well, because of a lot of demand and less supply for USDT, the rates sometimes keep going crazy. And that kind of shows you how much of crypto is actually being used in India. In fact, many reports have shown that India is one of the largest users of crypto. Then again, if you look at the US and Europe, now they have started making laws regulating stable coins. So, for example, the Genius Act and MiCA and others. Because of this, legal use of stable coins in Europe and US has picked up very, very well. And now we can start to see that these US coins, these regulated coins like USDC, will be available for Indian businesses. I mean, they're already available for Indian businesses also. So in fact, for example, some of the sites that I use, DigitalOcean for setting up servers, or Open Router for APIs of AI, they're already accepting USDC payments. Soon you will start to see a lot of Indian businesses accepting USDC payments because when you accept a USDC payment into India, the money comes in seconds and the transaction fee is almost nothing. On the other hand, when you use bank for these payments, it's going to take several days and a much higher cost. So because of stable coins, crypto usage in India is really going to shoot up. Any other questions? Dubai real estate market is using crypto. Indian buyers invest in Dubai real estate with crypto. It is true. And Indian government is cracking down on these buyers. Yes, that's a very good point. And let me explain to you why that crackdown is happening. The crackdown is not because they use crypto. It is because they used black money. So a lot of people, what they think is that they can convert their black money into crypto and then use it to buy real estate in Dubai. But they don't realize that governments nowadays have a lot of data sharing agreements. So when the Dubai government passes this information on to India, they can then catch those people for tax evasion, money laundering, and other things. So yes, those people who are doing it should understand that it is very risky, and many people are getting caught for doing this. The problem is not using crypto to buy real estate. The problem is using black money to buy real estate. Please understand that. Whether you used cash, gold, or crypto, if the money is black, that's where the crime actually happens. In fact, there is a very interesting podcast I came across recently of, I forget the name, but it's a very famous Indian podcaster. If you can remind me, Raj Shamani. He was talking to Karnal Singh, who was a retired ED head. And he actually spoke a lot about Hawala, where he said Hawala per se is not illegal. It is when you use black money that it becomes illegal. So I recommend please look up this podcast on YouTube and go through it. So it'll actually help you to understand about black money and how crypto and Hawala is actually working. Global framework for crypto and legal implications in multi-jurisdiction. So yeah, that's a good point. So as of right now, in our courses, we cover about 20 different countries' laws. We are adding more to it, and our AI will also now be able to give you answers based on all these countries' laws about what you're supposed to be doing and how the legal scenario works in there. But multi-jurisdiction is naturally an issue. But when we look at crypto cases, it almost always involves multiple countries. So if you go online, ED some time ago had busted this case. Huge amounts of money was caught, and there were 8 different countries entities involved in that. In most crypto cases, in the larger ones, you will find multiple countries coming into the picture. But honestly, it doesn't necessarily make it more difficult. Once you really know what you're looking for and you use the right tools, in my experience, most crypto crimes are solvable. And I've been working in this for crypto investigation since about 2011. So it's about 15 years. And I can tell you the success rate is very, very high. Any other questions? Okay, great. It was nice speaking to all of you. And I'll post more information on the WhatsApp groups and see you. It was nice speaking to all of you. Bye bye.